Phone calls, your emails, your tweets, 519-643-1290. Brendan, how you doing, buddy?
Hi, doing very good. Thanks for having me on.
You think about reincarnation, do you?
Oh, actually, you know what? Like, reincarnation is a pretty common topic of discussion within the group of circle that I'm in, I guess you could say.
You drink a lot?
No.
Okay.
There's a community group that I started within London, and it's called Paradigm Shift London. And we talk about a lot of stuff, and reincarnation is actually a common topic that comes up within themes related to spirituality, mindfulness, consciousness, without really needing to be dogmatic in any sense.
Right.
So it's a topic I'm really interested in, actually.
Okay, and I don't want to go too far off the beaten track, because like I don't want people thinking that like we've got a lot of weed here, or this is like a high conversation or something like that,
right.
Because that tends to be what this conversation is kind of associated with. But you and your friends who would talk there, and this is my problem with reincarnation, okay, is I would immediately think if reincarnation was proven, if somebody said, I can prove without question that you can be that everybody is reincarnated, then I would sit there and I think, well, obviously then that means there's a spiritual evolution. That's why I'm doing this. And then I would start to worry and say, well, why can't I remember my previous life all the time? How do I? So when you guys sit around and talk about it, what's the synopsis of it? What's the end all be all of it?
Well, I mean, if you really want to take this to like the bigger perspective of things, from my opinion, from my personal understanding of it that I've sort of broken it down to, it's kind of this idea that relates to oneness and the idea that we're more than our physical body. Like, we think that this reality is very physical,
right.
But when you get into the quantum mechanics side of things, you realize that like it's 99% empty space. And then you can get into this idea that like within the dream realm, within the place that we go to when we dream, that's actually closer to the space of where we're actually from, and then we come into this incarnation almost with intentional amnesia, I guess you could say. So the reason why we're here for like this lifetime experience as consciousness is to go through this process of remembering that, to say like, oh hey, like I'm not just Brendan, like I'm actually like I'm a fractal representation of higher consciousness itself. And then in that sense, it's this idea that the universe is very practical with its energy, and it doesn't really waste energy. So I mean, when you think about it, if a person goes through an entire lifetime and they learn all these lessons, part of the idea would be that they would want to continue to take the information that they've gained from these life experiences and continue it into the next cycle. And when you look at nature, nature is all about cycles, and it's all about cycles going on and continuing on multiple layers. So I mean, for me, like, it makes sense, and actually, like, even with what we were talking about with the birthmark thing,
right.
That's one that I can relate to, because there's a very interesting birthmark that's on the side of my neck, and I've actually had like dreams and even sort of just like premonitions, I guess you could say, or just hunches, where I think for myself it actually relates to this idea that in a past life I was like a warrior, and then for me it's this idea that there's like a sword that actually went through the side of my neck. But I mean, that's a whole different story in itself. But definitely there's something to reincarnation, and I think more people are starting to open up to this idea, and it's definitely a conversation that I would encourage to continue further.
All right, beautiful. You guys sound like a deep group. I want to put you on hold here. I want Nick to get your phone number, okay? So hold on, we'll get you on the air, because we need to go a little bit. We've only got like a few minutes in this segment, so hold on.
Totally.
Okay? All right, beautiful, Brendan. So is that kind of jive in with what you were saying? You have like these nightmares about something happening to your noggin, and you've got a birthmark there.
My noggin.
Your noggin.
Yeah, no, well, not so much now that I'm older, but I remember being